Greetings, this is Freedom Phil. Another episode of My Weird Life. I'm gonna do a few side videos because, memories come and go as they happen. And I was thinking about places I'd hiked, and I thought about how this would take me forward in time. So it's like some of these videos, maybe I'll do a playlist later where it's like, okay, this is this era's videos, this is that era's videos, um, whatnot. And one thing I want to point out is there was the old era when I lived out in the woods and whatnot. Like Lady Moon Project. Oh, I call it the old era because it kind of reminds me of the concept of antiquity. Like there was this great point, and for whatever reason, something happened, and that falls. And then there's a changing time. Like for instance, the Idaho excursion. That's another brief era, followed up by the brief era of the Dark Age. That 1 year was just really fucking struggling. There's a number of stories from all these different eras. But followed up by the first stage of progress, which in that, the Idaho excursion and the Dark Ages were about 2 years. The first stage of progress, where I actually paid off my house. I owed $48,000, and I managed to pay it off in 4 years. Now I look at that now, and I kind of chuckle because I know trucking wise, I could make that much money. I make $100K a year, take out a little bit for taxes, divert some of it for, move to a state that has no state income. Yeah, I could probably make $100K with maintain 90 of it, and then take out 5,000 for myself. Be like, maintain 90. What are you living off of? Well, the house would be basically rented out, paying for itself and all that. So I look back at that. I'm like, I was really proud when I paid off that house. And now I look at it and I'm like, I do so much more now. Which makes it kind of funny because the last 2 years, probably it'll be 3 years, I've been just kind of, bumming around in my van and then doing a remodel in my house here and there. But, yeah, there's been a lot of little eras. I mean, after the first stage of progress, I helped take care of this ranch, and I haven't really thought of a name for that. The equine era. I don't know. Which, the story that I want to tell in the near future about this place on Striped Peak that I walked through, that was from that era. So even though it's kind of the reminder of that era was that conversation I had the other day where I was talking about the trails of the 5,000 block that lead up to Striped Peak. So, yeah, and then followed up by when I was out in the ranch, basically when I left town, and I need to do some stories about that. Followed up by the trucking era, which could be argued the second age of progress. Which, to be real, trucking did more for me in a very short amount of time than all the crap I did before that. I mean, okay, working moving garbage in the first stage of progress did a lot of good for me. I did a lot of good. I learned a lot from that era too, about people, myself, society, and that should be the next video. But I can tell you that if I'd known just how good and how easy the money would have been driving truck for a living, I would have never bothered to do much of anything else. I mean, shit, I could show you how to easily be retired by your early 30 or early 30s. Because there's cheap property all over the place. Drop a tiny home, invest in the early game, and let your money make you money. It's not really that complicated. And I'm not trying to sound like some fucking genius or anything like that. But what I just told you is basic knowledge, and yet we live in a world full of all the information in the world, but yet most people are fucking ignorant. And that's why I say some people are gems, like pearls before swine. Some of you are gems that can absorb knowledge. Some of you are just frankly ignorant pigs. And a lot of times ignorant pigs just, they trash shit. Like they shit all over everything. And then arguably in the next video, when I talk about my hometown where I grew up, that is one of the issues. And part of the reason that I have a bittersweet outlook on the Northland Peninsula. So anyhow, yeah, there's just multiple eras. So if I bounce around from one time to another, what do I call this era? The era of remodeling? I don't know. This is Freedom Phil. Take it easy. Y'all have a good one.